Hi everyone, thanks for joining us. My name is Iman Ismail. I am a copywriter and the founder of InkHouse. I have launched my online copywriting course for business owners, marketing professionals, newbie copywriters and charity sector professionals. So I'm here with Nathan Brown to talk about my course content. Nathan Brown is a soft skills coach. I'm going to let him introduce himself in a second. But just to give you an idea of why I have him here, Nathan recently came to my Lloyd's workshop. So this Lloyd's workshop was basically the course that I am now offering, but it was a shortened version. So Nathan kind of got the 2-hour version, and I am now making available the 6-hour version. So Nathan, hi, thank you for joining us.
Hi, how are you? Yeah, it's really good to be here. Thank you.
Brilliant. And why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a bit about what you do?
Okay, so Sid, my name's Nathan. So I'm a pre-startup soft skills coach. So spent a few years kind of working with adults in the employability and skill sector, children and teenagers in the education sector. And I'm just looking to bring all those skills forward and start a business. So soft skills, we're talking about people skills. So we're talking anything from self-esteem, confidence, resilience, aspirations, all that kind of stuff. So that's very much more on the kind of education private side, and then that will blend obviously into kind of corporate skills as well, where you look more at the work-based side of things.
Excellent. And Nathan is based in Manchester for anyone who is interested in working with him. We met at Lloyd's Bank because I have been delivering my workshops there. Now, why did you come to the workshop? What was the issue that you were having? What attracted you to my copywriting workshop?
So obviously, as a pre-startup, I'm at ground zero, so I'm looking to present well from the start. I was very aware of what's out there, how I want to present from kind of study in the past as well. So I really wanted to come to something like this just to build my awareness and just kind of strengthen my message basically.
Okay. Now, after the workshop, you actually showed me a piece of your writing. So I know that you can write. So what issue were you having? What brought you to the workshop?
I think it's really important to be aware of what suits an audience and who's around you. So, for example, I was very aware. I've also been working on some public speaking stuff in terms of a certain style. Because I knew that in terms of my writing, I could write, but it was geared a bit more towards uni styles. It was my output was coming across as essays essentially, and that's not necessarily what you need. You know, you need to be aware of what's around you and adapt to the audience rather than just writing what you want to write, how you want to write it, because it may be great to you, but you need to have an audience able to understand it, engage with it, and care about reading it essentially.
Absolutely. So there's an entire module dedicated to this in my course: knowing your audience, knowing their fears, knowing their desires, knowing what their objections are to hiring you or buying your product or donating to your charity. And then we talked about how to overcome those objections and those fears and those worries. So how did you find that? Because I think it's easy to kind of tell when I'm doing a workshop who is kind of really enjoying something, and I feel like you really enjoyed that section.
I did. Well, I mean, the whole class, I must say, just a nod to you. It had a great flow. I really loved how you very authentically kind of delivered it. You, from the start, allowed for what people in the class needed, which I think is very, very important. So as I say, I really enjoyed that. And yeah, for myself, it was just great to just kind of get a nice rounded introduction. So to go through the different flow, kind of hear about different bits and engage in different bits. And I always use this phrase of you don't know what you don't know. So there were bits that I knew that you helped me build on, but there was also bits where I kind of thought, oh yeah, I hadn't actually thought of that.
Mm-hmm. It's so interesting that you say that, because I interviewed a copywriter called Emma Beard, and we did an interview exactly like this, and she said that exact same thing. she said, you don't, she said, I didn't know what I didn't know until I came to your workshop, which was brilliant. And I guess I feel the same way. So it's not just you. The more I learn, the more I think, oh my God, there's just so much to learn.
Absolutely. And I think this is the important thing, as working professionals and experts in our fields and whatever, to be able to kind of share and blend that knowledge, just enriches, you know, your output, but also just us. I mean, as a coach, obviously I always encourage kind of the growth and learning and training and working from others and development. So that was good to be part of that kind of atmosphere and part of your group, basically.
Absolutely. So would you say that that section was the part that you most enjoyed? And if not, which section did you most enjoy and why?
I think for me, just because of where I'm at, the kind of I believe the module was called how to write copy that attracts, something along those lines.
Okay.
So yeah, so very much the kind of the beginning stages. So I'd like to I'll mention another bit I really enjoyed, but for me, for the analytical part of my brain and kind of getting things sorted, I think I've got a very free flow style of everything. Like my speaking, when I present, and when I run workshops. Although I have the presentations and whatever, I very much go from a free flow.
Yeah.
And from classes like yourself, where we look at planning and pre-assessment and stuff like that, I think it really helps to strengthen a message, and it really helps me to kind of gear in on what I need, which is obviously going to help everything from strength of the message to general efficiency, time management. So it's just really kind of understanding what you need, why, and then being able to really hone your output to that.
Exactly. And I think, I guess the reason it resonates with you so much is because this is, I guess, the part in your business where you need to just think, like stop and think for a second and just think about who you're talking to and who is your audience, who do you want to attract and who do you want to repel as well? Because we talk about this idea that your copy should repel the wrong audience. So it should tell people who are not your audience that they're not your audience. And at the same time, it should attract your ideal audience.
Yeah, well, actually, that was another thing that came up in the class, which is a thing I didn't expect. It's very much about, there's this whole thing about, I for example, I've worked with loads of different demographics, and there's a lot of I enjoy, and I very much have a habit of everything's kind of interpreted grey area, contextual for me. So I'm thinking, well, I could do this and this, and if I tweak this, I could get this. And it kind of, that free flow sometimes can kind of take you a bit off course, and you're distracted by maybe working with people just because maybe. So I mean, you mentioned for yourself as a copywriter, obviously you work at a certain level, and you know, you're a working professional with a certain, you know, kind of price point, level of service and things like that. So for you to kind of dilute that by just doing other bits doesn't work for them or yourself as a business.
Absolutely. And just to really kind of like bring that point home, there was actually somebody that asked me about joining my course yesterday or the day before, and she told me a bit about herself, and she asked me if I thought the course was right for her, and my answer was no, it's not right for you. And I think people would be surprised because obviously I want to sell the last 9 places that I have, but it's not to her benefit, and it doesn't benefit me either if I have the wrong people on this course, just like me having the wrong clients that I don't see eye to eye with. It doesn't work. And same with you. And that's the job of copy as well. It's to like weed out the people who are wrong for you, as well as attracting those people who are right for you. So I'm glad that you got that from the workshop. And I think one of the reasons I enjoy delivering this course content so much is because as a business owner, I'm usually speaking to other business owners as well as marketing professionals. But the business owners, I feel like I just understand, I get you, and I get the struggles that you have because I have exactly the same ones. And as I am teaching you how to, write copy for your own website, I also have to write copy for my own website, which is harder than writing copy for clients, I think, because it's always harder to write about yourself. And I definitely struggle with that too. But I loved delivering the workshop, especially to the group of people that you were with. Everyone was just really receptive and seemed like they were really benefiting. Yeah. But you were going to say that you enjoyed another part of the workshop, I think.
It was a bit I knew of, but again, I think it feeds into the initial bit I liked. It's when we discussed personas. So it's obviously that's very much blends into marketing stuff as well. But again, it's one of the tools you offered us, which is really key about really boiling down what am I working with and what do they need. So I felt that was just really helpful for planning as well.
Yes, excellent. And I should mention to anyone watching that you will get templates in the course and activities to kind of help you work through all these kind of questions and all these things that Nathan's talking about. So yes, there's lots to do and there's a lot to learn. So have you been using anything that you've learned yet? Have you had I know the workshop was only, I think, two weeks ago for you.
Yeah, something like that, isn't it?
Yeah. So you've not had much time, but have you used anything from the workshop yet?
I have. So at the moment, I'm working on my first landing page and things like that. So obviously, again, that needs to be that first initial representation. So as I'm kind of drafting stuff, writing stuff, I'm definitely thinking a lot more tightly on the what's and the whys and the frustrations, because I find before what I used to do was sit and just start trying to write a post. And I almost did free writing, which I encourage to some degree, because obviously that helps with writer's block. So it's a tool that I've used with people if they struggle to, as a coachee, if they struggle to write about a certain subject, I encourage them just to let it out on the page. Yeah. But I find in doing that, for me, when I had something that I really had to boil down to and focus on, it took me away from what I needed, or it then meant I was coming back to the output, the stuff I'd written, the copy, and I was just thinking it's not right. Whereas for me, as you taught us, you should really plan out. You should have the bones and the structure and the foundation there before you even start really kind of doing too much of the actual body of the copy.
Absolutely. And so the copywriting course, and what Nathan is talking about, is the fact that I cover kind of three essential aspects. So we go through the planning stage of writing copy, the writing stage of writing copy, and the editing stage as well. So you didn't experience the editing stage because we didn't have enough time, but both these all these three aspects are so important. So like you said, just like most people, they'd sit down and they'd just try and write a web page or try and write a marketing email. And that is near impossible to do. And it is definitely the wrong way to do it. What you need to do is have a planning process. But I mean, it's all well and good saying, have a planning process, but what does that actually involve? What does it actually mean? So this is the kind of stuff that we go into in the course. And it means that every time you kind of sit down, you have questions to ask yourself, you have a process to go through to get you, typing away, so that you can start kind of getting that copy out of you. Because often it's just, you open up your laptop and you just stare at the blank screen and you think, oh my God, what do I do now? So a lot of it is just trying to break through that. And then the editing process of course, then we have the writing process where you actually write. And the bit that we didn't get to focus on in the workshop, but that I go through in my course content, is the editing stage. And it's this idea that the writing stage is the writing stage, but then there should be an entirely different editing stage. And the editing is really where the gold comes out, because you're refining, you're reworking, you're deleting, you're adding things. So writing copy isn't just a sit down and whack it out. It's really a process that needs a lot of patience.
I think, for me, that was definitely something that came through with your thing. It's certainly about, it's a process, and the three stages. Realistically, in actual, if you're very literal about it, you could skip stages, but you shouldn't. And it could absolutely have a difference on everything. So, obviously planning just gets you kind of more efficient and focused. The writing obviously builds your focus, builds the copy, and obviously allows some additional ideas to flow as you kind of get into it. And then, yes, certainly the editing, which, as you say, I didn't get a chance with. Well, I mean, we had a little brush on it,
We
because
spoke
you
a little
very
bit about it.
kindly, yeah, we had like a short little 5 minutes, was really helped and really appreciated. So I got a little very, very mini taster. But yeah, certainly about kind of then looking at it for objectively, and kind of then placing yourself perhaps in one of those personas and saying, well, okay, for me reading this as someone who wants to promote my company, this is great. Now I need to be one of my customers or one of my audience, and I need to read as them. And is this right? Am I writing what they want to read, or am I writing what I want to write? And those things are not necessarily naturally together.
Yeah, I mean, you touched on it there. So when you said that we need to kind of put ourselves in our audience's shoes, one of the things I always say, and is part of my course and workshop, is that copywriting is role play. And whenever I say that, I see like light bulbs going off people's heads, going ding, and then people start writing. Copywriting is role play. So it sounds like that definitely changed your perspective on it as well.
Yeah, well, that's kind of where I go from. I think that was really interesting, that the role play. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, you mentioned about, start writing away. I came away with about, just from the 2 hours. So obviously, your attendees for this course are going to write far more. So I'd probably suggest taking a laptop or something. I wrote about 4 or 5 pages of stuff. I was tapping away like anything.
Oh, excellent. That's so good to hear. Well, yeah. So, I mean, the difference with this course is that, like I said, it's going to be a longer one. And it's an online course, so people can access it from wherever. Because what was happening was I was getting people who weren't based in Manchester asking me if I was going to be coming, if I could come to them or travel to them wherever they were, or if I could create an online version, or if I had an online version. So that's what made me think, oh, okay, maybe that's something I can consider. Oh, it's gone. Oh, there was a reason I was telling you this. Oh, yes. Well, the biggest difference is that this is also going to be a 3-month mentoring program as well. So the idea is that you learn all the stuff, and then I actually help you implement all the stuff. So you're writing and you get tailored feedback from me. And so as people kind of go through and do the activities and the tasks and write their own, whatever it is for their own business, whether it's a website, marketing, email, it could be, I don't know, a blog post, whatever it is, I am there to kind of offer guided and tailored support and feedback. So it should be very interesting. But are you surprised that this workshop that I've turned it into an online course from a face-to-face workshop?
To be honest, no. Like everything you've just said is, when you mentioned that you're doing it, these are all the ideas that kind of went off in my head. You need something that isn't so affected by logistics and the time and the location and stuff like that. Something you can refer back to. And I think the great thing by the sound of it with your course is, you can find a book on writing and you'll get something from it and stuff like that. But especially for someone like me, I'm very kinesthetic. I very much want to get involved. So to be able to kind of learn from a person and feel of it, and then get that tailored thing and present something, say, well, this is what I've got from your teaching. Am I right? Is there something I can improve on? Which you did briefly do with me, even in that 2 hours. Just that it can sometimes be that one little statement, someone looks and just says, tweak that, change that, move that, as we did on something I'd written. Which I thought the suggestion you did was, I'd nearly done it, and then you went, I think that paragraph should just be your opener, your hook.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, now someone like professionals told me, I'm like, spot on. And it just made such a feel for it. Just that moving that one paragraph just made the absolute difference. Because as you kindly mentioned, I can write, but it sometimes takes someone else just to say, well, have you tried? How would you consider, add this? And all of a sudden it's just that, like the light bulb that you mentioned.
And I mean, do you know what was so interesting? So Nathan actually asked me to have a quick look at a piece of work that he'd written. So this is what we're talking about. And I had, I guess you kind of experienced my tailored feedback and mentoring for a short bit of time. And I'd said, well, let's play with the structure a little bit and move this here and move that here and just delete that. And you were kind of just like, oh yeah, you said I wanted to do that, but I didn't know that I could. I thought I couldn't. And I think the course goes through that a lot. A lot of it is just kind of breaking down these ideas of what we should do and how we should write, and, you know, what good writing is. So especially with the group of people that you were with, a lot of the people there were kind of saying things like, oh, you know, I wanted to do that, but I didn't know I could. You know, there was one particular girl that I'm thinking of, a lady who said something like, oh, you know, she'd written up her website and she didn't love it. And she told me why she didn't love it. And I said, so change it. don't write it like that. It's that simple. It's that simple. So yeah, it was really great to kind of see that happen with you. And yeah, your piece of writing was really good. And I'm
Thank
sure
you. And made that a little bit better by a professional copywriter. But no, I think that's interesting. I think this is what you can get from a course like yours, or working with someone like you, is it's just having that support and guidance, but also sometimes we feel like we need permission to do stuff, or we don't realize. And sometimes also it's not even, we're not doing it because we think we can't. We just don't realize it's an option. That thing again of you don't know what you don't know, and sometimes it just takes someone who's experienced just to say, well, you know, this works, or this could, or, you know, if this feels right for you, you should absolutely do it.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. So my final question is, who would you recommend this copywriting course to?
Do you know what? I think, I mean, obviously we've mentioned that maybe some people it wouldn't work for, but I think generally if you are in a position where you are communicating with an audience, so excuse me, so any, you know, the customers, the general public, things like that. But something I was thinking about before was it would also be quite handy if you were talking internally, like perhaps to your team or your staff, because I feel copy is obviously, it's everywhere, and writing is everywhere. And I feel that obviously writing has, there's a lot of interpretation to it. So the message you send out might not be the message that's read. You know, the words are the same, the interpretation. I know that I've been in companies where they sent out an email, and I'm sure the person sending it sent it with the best of intents. But then when we read it, we were like, oh, are we getting told off? You know, why is that coming out? So I think anyone who needs to have an awareness of how their message comes across, anyone who wants to strengthen their message, anyone who just wants to be able to, just really understand what they're doing and kind of take it to the next level.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Thanks so much for talking to me, and thank you for agreeing to do this. I know you're very busy. And go ahead, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, no, it's a pleasure. Like, I'm glad to be a part of it. Like, I enjoyed the class so much, so to be able to kind of help share that message and get people on board for the course is, I was happy to do it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you to everyone watching. If you're interested in signing up to my course, or at least finding out more about it, I will include some links in the comments so you can do that. The doors close on the 13th of October, or when all 10 places go. So yeah, be quick. As soon as those 10 places go, that's it. I'm closing the doors, because I really do want to give everyone a great and tailored experience. So I didn't want to have too many people on board. So thank you again for listening. If you have any questions, do get in touch with me. I will speak to you soon.